Hello again everyone, Melth here. Things may sound a little bit different this time because I'm recording this one on vacation. I'm tackling one of the worst Blue Moon campaign missions. This one was Fog of War guess and check garbage on normal. It was already pretty bad there. It's worse on hard mode and it's absolutely miserable here where I'm trying to get 0 casualties. Just pure luck based, guess and check nonsense. The enemy has a vast army moving unpredictably through this force. We have a big army too, but theirs of course is even bigger, and if we have even one thing go wrong, you just pretty much lose and have to restart. Notice here that although I could attack this tank with artillery or rockets, I'm going to have my MD tank and my tank attack it instead. That is really, I think, a crucial important part of strategy for this mission. You want to do everything you can with your direct combat units, and only use indirects when they're absolutely necessary, because they will be necessary sometimes, and they're just horribly slow. If you don't instant kill this artillery, I would say just restart. You need it dead. Okay, there we go. The luck roll went my way. But yeah, you can only really advance at the speed of your indirects, so use them for as few things as possible, and instead just have your direct combat units take care of all the combat they can actually do, while remaining unseen. Alright, so I'm going to try to advance as far as I can go. Speed is one of the main limiting factors here, but of course for no casualties that is going to be the hardest part of all. It's really not that bad to just beat this mission with a couple of casualties. A few things will go wrong, but you'll win in the end. This mech will be important for forming a wall next turn, and APCs dropping infantry is a good way to get vision and maybe also provide bait sometimes, but do be careful about that. Lash can instant kill many infantry with MD tanks or Neo tanks coming out of the fog and using force or planes for attack bonuses. Alright, this should be pretty easy to finish off this recon with just a tank and an anti-air. No problem there, I don't think. Then on the right side, it's a little bit trickier to know what to do. I've tried a couple different formations. You can't really predict what Lash will do. Even though your guys are in force, she kind of acts as though she knows what you have to some extent, so no perfect formation. I've tried putting the MD tank there, I've tried putting the artillery there. I think it's usually better to have the MD tank in it. And then, it doesn't really matter much about the recon. It can't do anything very useful in this mission. The left side recon can sometimes do some useful scouting or walling. The right side one I find doesn't really have anything valuable to do. Everyone else is just lined up outside of black cannon range. That or hidden in the forests. Do check the cannon ranges on this mission. There are a few times you can get a useful spot that just kind of, because of the angle of the cannon range, is actually safe when it might not otherwise be. The cannons are a real nuisance. Anything that she can see at the start of her turn will basically just die because it gets cannoned and then it gets finished off by whatever she has in the woods nearby. Vast amounts of Neo tanks, MD tanks, artillery, rockets. Anything you would be afraid to find out there, she has several of them. As another bit of terrible design, she also has a few stationary units blocking some but not all the convenient paths to the HQ just to force the last turn gotcha moment restarts. It's fake difficulty. Well, here I'm pretty confident about some of these squares being safe. This MD tank I'm using here hasn't taken any scratch damage, so it's a safe bet to finish off this Neo tank with. Got a good luck roll there, so that's nice. Didn't want to count on that though. Now, I think I want to take out that tank there. Sometimes I've tried leaving her with 2 1 HP tanks so she does the join up, but she often joins up in the middle of a road with no force near it, forcing me to use another indirect to finish her off, so I don't think it's really worth the risk. I do think I want to injure that tank though so it can't kill this rocket. That is important. If she's a full HP vehicle there, that is 2 full HP vehicles, so tend to have one of them attack the rocket, the other one scouts for it. Again, they sometimes act as though they know what you have in the force, although they have to actually scout it before they can attack it. I'm not really sure what to make of how the AI works in this mission. It doesn't seem to be predictable. What you think you would want on this mission would be to try to have a few units bait her units to come inch south at you while you sneak troops around to capture the HQ, but you can't really do that predictably. Even when she has people pretty much almost in her range, she won't necessarily come back and fight you. But she doesn't just make a headlong run for the HQ either consistently. It's just, I can't make out any rhyme or reason to what the AI is doing behind the scenes. Whether I keep units hidden or keep them all advanced in open positions, she's not really either consistently baited or consistently ignoring me. So I'm not sure what to make of that. The right side here is quite tricky, because of course I want to advance people at full speed, but I also need to finish off that tank that I can only finish off by having a unit in the force that the rocket wants to get into. So I can't have both. I thought about having something like the anti-air go out into the road there and just kill that tank from the open road so as to leave an open spot for my rocket to advance into the force that the tank is currently blocking me from. I think I'll try it that way if this run fails. Having the rocket be slowed down really does cost that whole front about an entire turn. Sort of a cascade of annoying blockages, although that side of the battlefield gets stuck eventually anyway. Only the left side can realistically make it to the HQ. You have to be careful advancing the tank here on the right side. If you move it to the most aggressive force, you actually just lose because there's infantry watching that force as it turns out. There are many forts that you just learn by trial and error are not safe on particular turns because there just happens to be a unit next to it that turn. No real way to predict it until you've played the mission a couple of times through. Alright, important here, have that mech go to the right and the recon wall from the north. Oop, misclicked there and wasted some fuel, but yeah. If you do it the other way around, your mech will get shredded by the anti-air, but this is always safe. Sometimes both are safe because they don't actually move up to scout you, but I don't want to count upon that luck-based chance. Having her be just short of her superpower now is all according to plan. This strategy is the best one that I've been able to find so far to get no casualties on this mission, but it's still somewhat luck-based. Okay, I think just about anything can finish off that 1 HP tank next turn. Her anti-air wasted its time because it can't get to me anymore. And she'll go for the captures on the cities next turn. Doesn't make a big difference. In normal mode you can usually catch up and take out some of this infantry, but here you can't really do that. If you try it, you'll be blown away by her hordes of empty tanks and neo-tanks that are hidden in this forest, just guarding those infantry, so don't even try it. Alright, I do think about what to do to advance here. I think I'll be forced to use some indirects here to clear the path. If I'm lucky, this will just instant kill the recon. If I'm unlucky, I'll need to find another way to wall break it. There we go. Okay, that's a pretty good start. That clears up a path for the mech to do something useful. And then maybe the recon and artillery finish off that anti-air. Something like that could work at least. The mech can only attack the tank, so that's what it's going to end up doing, I think. And that square is actually safe from the black cannon. It looks like it's exposed, but it is actually safe. So I don't think they create a bait here. This will actually work just fine. Again, it's worth checking the cannon ranges. I happen to know this one is good. And this might finish it off with a good luck roll, or it can finish it off with something else. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I was okay, even if worst came to worst, if the anti-air living and just having to fight my black cannon and recon. That would have been alright. Here I can advance, but don't advance that tank into the northern forest. There's an empty tank or something waiting in there. It'll just be another restart. I prioritize moving the empty tanks forward first because they're better for killing things off, which is quite important. Wasted some fuel there. It is quite possible to run the fuel on your empty tanks in this mission if you do a lot of miss moves like that. Rocket has to kind of just waste a turn, I think, which also slows down the artillery. All that kind of compounds for the first turn movements that Lash made. Just the way it is if you don't want to bet on luck. The APCs get around, but they're not actually useful. I guess these are my best available moves. It's costing me turns, but it's all I can really do. You really want to try to build up CO power gates as much as possible so that you can get 2 CO powers if need be on this mission, rather than using your CO power at the first opportunity or saving up for your super, I think. So I'm fairly safe this turn. Barring some kind of catastrophic bad luck where she happens to move a unit just where it scalps me for something else to finish me off, I should be just fine. Even then, I think she can't really kill anything with what I know she has out there in the forest. So, good positioning. MD tank moving to that northern forest. I think I can deal with that though. At least I know where it is, and think that next turn I can then lure into an artillery barrage perhaps. And given that it's moving, I don't think it's going to just sit tight and block me there, so I shouldn't have to worry about that either. Alright, looking around, I think that I have ways to kill that tank using direct combat units only, thus allowing me to move up my indirects. Likewise with that anti-air, I can use this empty tank and the tank from the north. No hurry for that guy. No hope of that northern tank ever getting through on its own on that side. So, slowing down to kill this anti-air is a fine move, I think. Yeah, should work. You want to do almost the same route as a normal mode to get to the HQ. Just sneak a tank around from the left side with like one difference where they have a gotcha moment unit waiting for you. But mostly it's the same stuff. I don't think I can hit that tank. I'd love to, but I think I can't do it. The one that's up north next to the mountain, that is. This one I can easily take out. Just a question of what to do with my rocket, really. If I could kill it without moving the rocket, I can move the rocket in a more advanced position, but I think that's just not in the cards this time. She got lucky, she blocked me. So I think the rocket can move just one to the right and then free up a spot for somebody else to kill the tank from the south side. Probably the mech will do that, actually. Because the mech has nothing better to do. So it can advance full speed and take out that tank. That'll be alright. Your mechs are surprisingly useful in this mission, I think. They're better than your tanks are, albeit really slow. And nobody's moving super fast this mission anyway, due to all the forests everywhere. I need to stay inside those forests. The artillery are decent at getting around at least. You know, 1 road and 2 forests is an okay amount of movement to get on this chapter, most of the time. Your rockets movement is just awful, but you need them because Lash has a ton of artillery and rockets of her own out there, and you need a way to outrange them and to instant kill them. Alright, so my formations are good. I think there's a high chance she'll just blunder into ambushes at this point and be unable to attack me in any kind of consequential way. Let's see. I'd say I'm 80% sure things will work out perfectly my way. 20% chance things work out pretty much my way. She doesn't have enough units to be able to both reveal and get a 2-hit kill on any of my guys right now. Alright, got 2 of my cities, doesn't matter. Drove right into the middle of 2 big ambushes, so that's nice for me. I see an artillery over there, but that's not too surprising. She has quite a few of them. The woods are crawling with them. Just another kind of gotcha where you just might think a square is safe, but it turns out she has an artillery near it, so you get 2-hit killed, and then you have to restart if you're doing no casualties. Again, I will admit, it's not as bad if you're not going for no casualties, but it's terrible guess and check gameplay regardless. So I think I'm going to want to have my artillery take out her MD tank during my CO power, but first to do all the attacks that don't require my CO power just to build up more gauge. It might seem wasteful to do a lot of attacks without my CO power bonus when I could have it, but this is actually more efficient. There's a Neo, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'll probably attack this with an artillery first just to soften it up, build up more gauge for free, and then try to finish off the MD tank with maybe an artillery, and then one of my own MD tanks. I think my rocket won't be useful this time, so I'll probably end up advancing that. I think I should have that northern artillery stay free. It's more useful. Yeah, I'll do it like this one. The northern one has more movement options, so I would allow it to actually move, rather than having it stay blocked here. And maybe my mech will be the best guy to finish this one off. Not much else I can do, after all. Use up all of its ammo. Yeah, this should be safe. Sometimes I'm taking guesses about what will be safe and what won't be, but that freed up room for this artillery to advance. And that rocket can just keep creeping forward. Hopefully allow my other rocket to do so too, and then making way for the mech to do the finisher. And that, I think, is about all I can do before using my CO power to attack the MD tank. So I'll need to do that next, I believe. But it should only be about 1 star short. About 1 star short of my super. So, which means I should only need to build up about 18,000 more funds damage dealt after using my CO power gauge to get my next CO power. Which isn't too bad. That should be viable before the end of the mission. Actually, plus another about 10,000 for the cost increase every time we use any kind of power, roughly. That is a really crucial mechanic which should not have been so thoroughly hidden from the player. That looks like an okay start. I'm pretty sure I can finish that off with any ordinary MD tank while the other ones just advance into the forest. Yeah, guaranteed kill here. That's fine. Great. Okay, so now I've cleared up. The first big section of woods is all clear. Now we're onto the second phase where things get dicier. That place is just crawling with units, including at least 2 Neo tanks, I think. And I think 2 MD tanks, 2 rockets, at least 2 artillery, and a whole bunch of other stuff too. So if you ever get caught out of line and you're ever seen, you just die, pretty much. Which again is not too bad if you're just going for winning with 300 points. You can sacrifice a unit or 2 and just be fine. But here, it's gonna be awful. Alright, let's end it. And I should be good unless you happen to advance a unit that reveals me to that artillery, but that is highly unlikely. Okay. I think I can sneak around on the left side and not be scouted by that infantry that's capturing, but one thing at a time here. I'm at risk of my rockets being the limiting factor on speed here. We'll see. Artillery there can't do much. Maybe I can scout a bit. This is... yeah. No reason she would have anything over there, but it was possible at least. Just kind of gambling a bit. That rocket's gonna play in this forest. It's the best move it can make. Does block the artillery a little bit, but the rockets are more important, of course. Over here, I just sneak by. Should be a few turns from winning with that tank. Likewise with this MD tank, possibly. I want to take that thing out. Nothing else can instant kill it, so the rocket plus maybe some kind of finisher will be the best bet I've got. Don't get carried away here, don't get optimistic, don't just go tearing through those woods. You will find something waiting for you and then you'll lose and have to restart. So take it slow and cautious. One thing you can't do, by the way, is just ignore most of your army and simply try to sneak one tank along alone through the left side like you could do in normal mode. That won't work, because here in hard mode you'll just run a bunch of troops back to guard the HQ and you won't be able to win. So no just cheesing the mission that way. You do need to advance your army to try to bait her other units out of the way. Maybe someone can make sense of what the AI is doing, but I sure can't. Now, do we have the APC refuel that mech? or re-ammo it. Not really that important. Probably won't do it that, since that would involve slowing down too much. I could use the infantry as bait. Maybe try to lure some units over here to fight that. But again, they don't seem to take bait in a consistent, logical manner, so I'm not sure that'll actually work, so I probably won't bother with that. Alright, we're getting really close now. It would really be a shame for things to go wrong at this step, but it certainly could. Oh, I wish I could see which way the artillery went, but there was another one. So, yeah, Wood's just crawling with indirects. Multiple rockets, multiple artillery, at least one Neo-tank. I think at least 2 MD tanks still outstanding. It's awful in there. Alright. I think the rockets have to keep crawling forward. Yeah, I guess I'll do that. Oh, there's one of her rockets. Okay, can I get to that next turn maybe and finish it off? It's not guaranteed, but she'll probably pull people out of the nearby force if she has any there now. Although that'll force me to stay on the city to finish it off if she has to sit there, which is not good. If I'm on that city, she can see me, and then she can probably black-hand me and definitely just take me out with other things. So, yeah, it's not going to work. I'll just keep creeping forward slowly and painstakingly instead. Just trying to keep my eyes open for opportunities as I move the artillery forward, and I do not get greedy, I do not get optimistic. I think I do want to get fuel for that empty tank, so the anti-air APC will walk over here for that purpose. Yeah, this is... I could use that as bait. Yeah, I'll do that. The attack is not important, just being in front of it where she can see me might, maybe lure units over there, and she can't quite hit me this turn, so she can't instant kill me. I'm pretty sure she's nothing in the forest that could do that anyway. We'll see. Kind of the moment of truth there, but I'm pretty confident. Well, I was right about that. It did seem to lure the empty tank back, so that's good for me. Anything coming back this way is really important for allowing a clear path for me to get over to the HQ. Okay, good, that worked. She could still block it, she sometimes does, but this is almost certainly going to work at this point. Now, how do I advance here? Do I have enough artillery coverage to... Okay, I can do that at least, yeah. Crossing my fingers here. If she has a unit waiting to block me, I pretty much just lose at this point. But I must provide more units for her to walk people down toward and possibly engage. If I don't do that, she'll just block the HQ and I'll lose. You can't just sneak a single tank through. She will block it if you try that. 9 times out of 10 anyway. That... yeah, second scout there could be useful. If the first one dies, of course, I won't be able to get no casualties anyway, so I have to restart, but having a second backup option there could be useful depending on her exact formation. Having a bait unit stay there sounds good. Hopefully her MD tank will walk out into an ambush where I can just blow it away with artillery, or her Neo tank will do that. My rockets can advance to help set up that future kill zone. Well, I already have a 4,000 cost bait, so this mech won't get shot, so that should be fine. I could put the infantry onto that mountain, but I think that I'd probably better not do that. It's too dangerous. Even on that mountain, I'm not certain I would survive against a last Neo-tank with a force, and there might be other backup units out there too. Even... oh, do I want to go for that? I'm going to go for it. Maybe I don't need to, but I think I'm going to go for it. Alright, is this forest also clear? Luckily the AI is not smart enough to remember where you walk, they just cheat to know where you currently are. So we do have one advantage over them. Alright, I think that's about it. So, will she reveal me this turn? If not, I think I win. That or my tank just gets ambushed right outside the HQ. It's unlikely, but it is theoretically possible at the very least. There's no feasible counter if she happens to move a unit that way, but I gave her enough bait that she shouldn't. If she does that, your only recourse is to slowly crawl your rockets forward and then just bombard whatever she's guarding the HQ with, but you only have 14 to get a good speed score as I recall. Well, at day 9, this is just about the fastest possible completion time that's at all feasible, since she always blocks the most efficient possible tank path at least once or twice. I am glad to have this mission out of the way. There will be plenty more tough ones going forward, but few that are as luck-based to get no casualties on as this one, I think. I do, as I said on normal campaign, really like the unique picture that this mission has of that tank going through the forest. I find something charming about these little painting-type art things that Intelligent Systems did for some of their games of this era. At least the unique ones. Well, Grit, there will be plenty that are tougher than this one, but most will be better at least. Thank you for watching, everyone, and a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Illusory Thunder, Master Knight DH, Advanced Warrior, Jackie, Gregory, William Wakefield, Kenny Boggs, Danny Hall, and Jeffrey Morse. Have a great day, everyone!